Today on Catherine Learns Stuff, I'm going to walk you through making these cute heart-shaped candy boxes. So let's jump in. Alright, so let's jump in designing our heart-shaped box. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select shapes and pull in a heart. I'm going to increase the size of my heart to be a little bit larger. I actually want to have a better idea of my heart size because I'll need these dimensions later. So I'm going to pull in a 2" by 2" circle, and I'm going to try to make the one hump of the heart about the same size as that circle so that I've got a good measurement on my wall lengths later. So I've got my heart ready, and I'm going to just delete the circle because I don't need that anymore. And since I need a front and the back of a box, I need 2 hearts. Okay, so my front and my back are done. The next thing that I want to do is I need to measure up how big my heart is so that I know the size of my wall. So I'm just going to quickly rotate my heart 45 degrees so that I can figure out the size of this straight portion of the wall of my heart. So one thing I can do is I can sort of just bring it up against the scale here and measure that, or I can pull in another shape, which is what I'm going to do. Just going to pull in a rectangle, a square, and change the size so that it kind of lines up with the straight portion of the heart here. So right now we're looking at about 2.28 inches in height for the wall. So the first thing that I'm going to do, this is going to be my actual wall size. I'm going to undo my lock on the dimensions because I don't want them to be locked, and I'm going to change the width to about 1.5 because if this is too big, my wall will be really fat and I'm gonna have to put a lot of candy into this box, and I don't want to do that. Alright, so we've got our 2 hearts, we've got part of our wall. So this portion here is the straight part of the heart, and now we know that we used a 2" diameter circle for the one hump of the heart. So that means if we want the box to close straight across the top of the heart, we want to have at least at 2¼ inches. So I'm going to increase this height that I have of my box here from 2.28. I'm going to add 2¼ So I'm going to add to this to make this to 4.5 inches in size. And this is going to be the base of my wall. We're going to change this wall to 4.75 just so that we've got the right enough space there, because we have to have a little bit of overlap later on. So this is the base of my wall. Next I'm going to quickly add some tabs onto my wall. So I'm going to pull in another rectangle, and I want this to be 2.28 inches high because that's the size of the straight section of my heart. And I'm going to change the width to 0.5 because I don't need it to be super large. Now I'm going to line this up at the bottom. What I need to do is I'm going to cut off the top corner and the bottom corner of this tab so that when I'm folding my box later, it folds nicely. So I'm just going to bring in a triangle and reduce the size here so that I can have a nice little edge cut off of the rectangle. So quickly slicing this, I'm going to delete the extra going to delete the pieces that I don't need. And this one extra piece that I have, I'm going to flip it vertically, and I'm going to put it up top here so that I can use this to slice my top portion. And now I've got a tab completed. I'm just going to get rid of those extra pieces, and now I've got one tab. So quickly I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to flip it because I need it on the other side of my box. So this is my tabs on my one box. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly make one more duplicate of this side tab, and I'm going to rotate it by 90 degrees so that I can have it as a bottom tab to connect the two walls together. So I'm going to make sure that my width stays at 1.5, but as my box is only 1.5 wide, I'm going to reduce this height, which is now my width, to 1.5 and put this here. So that's going to be the 3 tabs on one of my wall pieces. And then the last thing that I need to do on this wall is I'm going to pull in a heart. This heart is going to be my locking mechanism on my box. So I need to rotate this 90 degrees so that I can put this on top of my box here. And you'll notice right now the heart is a lot larger than my wall width, so I need to reduce the size, but I'm going to change this so that my dimensions are locked, so I'm not deforming my heart too significantly. And that looks like about a good size for my heart. So first thing I need to do, I need to duplicate this heart, so I have a spare, which I need for making my locking mechanism work. And my original heart, I'm going to cut it in half. So again, I'm just going to pull in a rectangle and I'm going to cut this heart in half. And then slice them once I've selected them both and get rid of these extra pieces that I don't need. Now this heart's going to go right here on top. Get rid of this guy here so it doesn't interfere. Okay, so now I've got my tab there and I'm going to combine this by welding it. No, cancel. Not yet. Alright, so now I've got my one side pretty much ready to go. Before I carry on, what I want to do is I want to grab these three pieces, so the two side tabs in the middle, and I'm going to duplicate them. I'm going to put them off to the side so that they're ready for my other wall later. And so now I'm going to select all these 5 pieces and I'm going to combine them by welding them together. Alright, now one last thing to do on this wall is I'm going to again add a shape. I'm going to get some score lines going here. I need 4 score lines on this guy. This first one needs to be 2.25 inches. 2.28 I mean. Okay, and this is going to go here. We're going to duplicate this line and that's going to go here. Kind of in the spot. And then we will add another score line, but this one is going to be rotated by 90 degrees. It's going to go at the top. And we want it to be 1.5 inches because that is the size of our wall. And we need 2 of them. So 1 for the top and 1 for the bottom. Alright, put these in. Oops, that one didn't fit there. Okay, now selecting all these score lines and my wall piece, I'm going to attach everything so that when I'm cutting it later, it's all together. Okay, so we've got the wall done, we've got our spare heart done, and now we have one last thing to do on this wall. So this wall here, our second wall, we can select all the pieces and we can weld them together. So combine and weld and done. Now again, before we add any score lines, I'm going to quickly add in our little rectangle here. And this rectangle, we want to have it to be small. It needs to fit, the heart has to fit through this. So this is one of the reasons we've got our extra heart. So our heart is roughly 1.25 inches wide. So we need to change this to 1.25. And that should fit the heart. No. Let's see here. We need this a little bit bigger. 1.5. That's too big. Our wall is 1.5. What am I talking about? 1.3. This would work. We'll try 1.3. So 1.3 gives us a little bit of clearance. So let's grab this. I'm going to move this wall over here. Now, I don't want the width on this to be very big because, well, I mean the height on this to be very big because if it's too large, the heart will actually pop out of this when the box is closed. So I've got it currently set at 0.3. I'm actually going to reduce this to 0.1. I know it's kind of small, but we don't want it very large because we don't want anything opening up once the candies are in. And I'm going to move this just a little bit to about that distance there. Now I'm going to select my 2 boxes, my wall and my box, and I'm going to slice them apart. And get rid of these extra pieces that I don't need. Alright, so that's the slit that my heart's going to fit through when I'm closing my box, and I need to now add 2 more score lines onto my wall. I guess I could have duplicated these before, but oh well, we can just make some more. Alright, put this guy here. This guy here, and attach these guys. Alright, so this is it. My box is ready to be cut. So quickly going to set make it, and we will continue putting this together. Now that all of my pieces are cut out, the first thing I need to do is I need to fold along the score lines. Just to make this go smoothly. And the one score line that I forgot to do was to add one here onto the center of this heart, because this heart will be folded later. So just do a little score line there and give her a quick fold. Assembly is pretty quick. What I need to do first is I need to assemble the two walls together at this point here, and then I'm going to attach my hearts. So quickly just applying some glue. I like to use my Barely Art crafting glue. It dries pretty quickly and it doesn't leave any marks. Okay. And now I'm going to work on one side first, and then once that's dry, I will work on the other side. And again, while we're waiting here, I'm going to apply some glue here onto my half heart, and this heart sticks up here on top, like so. While my glue is waiting to dry, I made a few embellishments for my boxes. So I've got a love in vinyl, a Be My Valentine in vinyl, as well as a few hearts that I'm going to add onto it. The one thing to note about when adding the embellishments, it's better to add them before you fold the box because they stick better that way. It's easier to apply them onto it. So I'm quickly going to add on some embellishments just to make my boxes look nice. You don't need to though. If you like to just have a simple plain box like this, that's fine as well. I'm just adding a few different options to see what they all look like. And now it's ready to be glued on the other side here. So again, just quickly applying glue onto these two tabs. And letting it dry. Now that all of our candy boxes are done, what's left to do is just to fill them up with some candy and lock them into place. Just like that. I've listed all the products that I've used in the description below if you're interested in knowing what exactly I used, as well as you can check out my website for additional projects and ideas, and I've got some other tips in there on how this project went. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to check out my other videos as well. Thanks so much for watching.